And I'm super excited because the decision to end each summit with amazing celebration and recognition of someone who's written a book and allow that launch to be here and to be supported and to be cheered on. We're just about to do that. So I want to ask, Kathy, are you ready to do your launch? Do you want to have a few more minutes? Are you good?
No, I am good to go.
You're good to go. Well, let me tell you, I want to introduce you to Kathy Holt. And I have just been able to see this. I mean, in her own right, for those of you that don't know, I have a little bit of a girl crush on Gloria Steinem. And when I met Kathy, she had met her, and I had had a brief with her and she had met her. And it was the common denominator for me falling in love. Now, not only from that standpoint, but also from the standpoint that we had some of the same philosophies around women and leadership. I had a crush on a building called United Nations, things that, and I loved her stories. We've heard so many incredible stories today, and I loved hearing her stories. And that's how some of the speakers that came on, like Jane and Mary, and just listening to all the work that she's done for women in general has just been super powerful. She's a 262 OG, we call her, someone that's been around a little bit, and making her way, and then watching that blossom to speaking and presenting and speaking and getting stronger and just really becoming someone who's like, sure, I'll do that. Sure, I'll go to the Emmys. Sure, she gets this offer to write her book in a rapid time, in rapid time speed, so that she could present it herself on her own table. And now we're super proud to announce that Kathy is one of our first television shows on the Women's Channel called Holt Takes the Lead. And she really, I think not only is that a perfect title because you have taken, the lead for a long time, you also work and coach and teach people how to be leaders. You also take leaders and teach them how to lead because sometimes people become accidental leaders. But you have also been taking the lead since I first met you. I mean, you've really been saying yes to things that you had no idea. And then you're mastering this incredible movement within yourself and within your community. So I'm very happy. I'm going to show the book and I'm sure that she will as well. So this is Kathy's, one of her most recent accomplishments. And I'm going to read, when you read someone's bio, I'm like, I'm going to read the bio of the book because this is her book launch. So why not read exactly what she's written here? So Kathy Holt is an internationally renowned speaker, a best-selling author, and a lifelong advocate for women's rights. Her book, Unstoppable Women, Owning Our Voices and Leading Change, is dedicated to empowering women as leaders and change makers. She is also the joyful mother of a gifted daughter leader. Ooh, I like that. I haven't heard that before. Kathy has spent over 35 years advancing gender equality through university courses in women and gender studies and political policy and advocacy work, including collaborations with the United Nations and global NGOs. As the co-founder of DEI Consults, she brings the gender lens to championing diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, practices to foster belonging and drive transformative change. Through her consulting business, Kathy guides women through her LEADS framework to recognize their inner strengths, amplify their voices, and lead with authenticity and impact. So before she comes to the stage, let's just do a cheer out for this book hitting the market and available today everywhere. So let's just do some hearts and some claps because we know what it takes. And if you don't know what it takes, write your book. So Kathy, I want you to come to the stage and just talk a little bit about, what it was like for you, maybe a favorite chapter, what it was like to produce a book in 3 months. I know you have another sister here who did the same thing, but take the stage a little bit.
Well, thank you, Deb, so much for putting on these summits and giving us the platform to speak out for women and to really enhance the voices of women, because that's what I've been doing for over 35 years. And what happened, the story kind of behind the book, was I went to the Emmys last year with the 262 book and the 262 crew. And it was such a moving experience. And to see all the support from all the people that.
Oh, is that me or is that her? Oh, it looks like it's her a little bit. Carol, is she with you? Yeah, she kind of gleeped out there a little bit. I can continue to talk a little bit about it. Carol, she's in your room with you? Okay, you go get her. You go get her. So what Kathy had experienced, I think that Stephanie talked to it earlier, is that both Stephanie and Kathy came to the Emmys to gift the 262 book, which of course they're both in. And it was really surprising and moving and shocking, I think, to everybody. Just when someone saw the title of this book, they were leaning in, celebrities and people of media, they were leaning in and they were talking to us and telling their stories, right? And it was really captivating, and it was moving and it was inspiring, and literally people were holding the book. And it really, I think, opened everyone's eyes, including eyes, to that was one of the inspirations for her to do her own book. I just continued. Now you can take it from there. I was talking about the inspiration that you experienced on the floor of the Emmys. Are you with us?
Carol, can you?
Kathy, are you with us?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
We can absolutely hear you. So
Can
go
you
ahead
see
and
me?
continue.
Sorry, everything just died.
That's okay.
We're at a hotel.
Okay.
We're
She's
at a
flown in for the beautiful event, and so she's in Carol's hotel room, and we make things happen because that's what women do. So go ahead.
As I was saying, I was at the Emmys and representing the book, and everybody that knows what kept saying to me, "Oh, Kathy, you have to write your own book. You've been doing this for so long, and now it's time for your own book." And so I went, okay. And then I had an offer to go to the Oscars, which Emmys was in September, Oscars were in end of February. So I literally became a hermit and just wrote my book. It took me about 8 weeks, and I just basically ate, slept, wrote. Not in that order always, but just that's what I did, because that was what was so important to it kind of gave me the impetus and the motivation to get it done. And I think that's something that it taught me significantly, was the importance of sometimes just getting it done. And I think that the book, I feel it's more of a call to action for women who have maybe been standing in the shadows, or who have heard they're either too much, too little, not enough. And it's, whether it's in their business, their home, or their community, it's time for them to step into their leadership, because we lead in everything we do every day in life. If you look at just simple things, if you have kids and have ever done taken on the project for them at school, or I don't even know if they do anymore, like bake sales and stuff like that, because my daughter's older and you'll get to meet her in a few minutes. But it's just, you're leading. You are absolutely leading. So what I really try and connect with women with in the book is to ditch the self-doubt. What I suggest, and I feel very strongly about, is we need to get to know ourselves. Sometimes we don't take that time to really know what are our qualities, what are our strengths, what are our values, what makes us tick, what do we think is important, and what do we want to do? Because we're so busy taking care of everybody else that sometimes we don't take that time for ourselves. And I think it's imperative that we do, because once you figure that out, then you can start figuring out, where do I want to do it? Where do I want to lead? So I explore stories about, second guessing ourselves and how to gain confidence. I worked with one young woman, and she was a master at everything. She was just an incredible young woman working in this organization that really didn't appreciate her, because she could do events, she could arrange travel, she could take care of the admin, she could take care of visiting guests, because it was an international NGO where I was consulting. And but she doubted herself, because she was in an environment that wasn't very supportive. And so working with her, I said, Sabrina, what do you do well? Oh, I don't do anything well. And I said, no. Let's look at what you do well. And we started exploring what we did well, what was important to her. And eventually she started recognizing that she had a lot to offer and that she could do a lot for a lot of different things. And she eventually did change jobs and found something that valued her and really supported her, where she found her voice and she could use it. And she changed some of the systems within the organization. She is highly valued at this new organization because she stepped into her strengths and she stepped into, believing in herself. She used her voice, which is a powerful tool that I think sometimes we don't recognize. You are the expert of your lived experiences. Nobody has the same perspective as you do. You are unique. And the world needs to hear from you because you bring a perspective that nobody else has. And it might be the solution to something that nobody's thought about before. So once again, learning that to trust in yourself, know what you stand for, what's valuable to you, and then learning to use your voice is super, super important. And that's what I want to see more women do, because I have made it my mission to create a movement of women leaders, because we lead differently. We're not command and control and authoritarian. We build teams, we build trust, we have compassion. We care about what other people on our team are thinking or doing, or how they're responding to things, or what's going on, because that makes a good team. And that is actually the new paradigm for leadership. Leadership is not the curmudgeon in his office that is barking out orders. Even Wall Street, Forbes, everybody realizes that that doesn't work anymore. So that's why women are really poised right now to be incredible leaders and to step into their leadership. Something else that I really kind of focus on is confidence. One, I think knowing yourself and knowing what you value and knowing what's important to you, you build some confidence. But the other thing, women often think they need to know everything before, or be ready with everything before they start something new. And as Deb said, I have jumped into some people in my circle kept thinking burning fires, but I just learned to say yes, because it was an opportunity. And somebody earlier was talking about when you feel it in your gut or feel it in your intuition, that you must go with it. And so that's what I have done. And I say to women, I use this example because I think it's a powerful one, but a simple one. When we decided to learn to ride a bike, for any of us who have learned to ride a bike, thinking about it didn't give us confidence. Riding the bike and learning to do it and just jumping on and being guided through riding the bike is where we gain confidence. The first couple of blocks might have been really wiggly and uncertain, but after a while, the more you rode, the more you got your confidence. So confidence comes from doing, not from thinking about it. So once again, I urge women to look at what their strengths are, know their values, their core values, make it clear, and jump in and learn, because it's in the doing that you gain the confidence and the learning. So, and the other thing is about knowing yourself. You're the only person that you spend 24/7 with. So you might as well have a good relationship, because, you got to spend time with each other. So I think that's why for women, no matter where you are in your career, in actuality, many of us who are high capacity women don't take the time to do that either. We just don't. We need to revisit it. We need to make sure that, because it changes over time. I know through all the different iterations of my life, it's changed a bit, not in the core values, because I still have the same core values about justice and fairness. Fairness is one of my big hangups. And so, but how we want to have an impact, what we want to be doing with our lives, that can change over time. So that's why we need to revisit it, no matter where we are in our career or in our leadership journey. It's important to just check in with yourself. Once again, you're with yourself all the time. So um, then let's see. I think one of the other things that I really, really harp on is the whole idea of burnout, because you know how they say the saying, well, if you want something done, give it to a busy woman. Well, that's great for the person who wants something done. It might not be good for the woman doing it because it might not be following her path. It might not be following what she cares about. And we do that. I know I do that. I do that. Oh, I can, yeah. Somebody says, oh, we got to get this done. And so what doesn't want to do it. And I'll say, oh, okay, I'll do it. And but then I have to sometimes stop and think and say, is that what I really want to be doing? Is that really progressing me in my world? Is that, where I want to have an impact? So learning to say no was hard, to say it without guilt. But I've also, knowing myself, knowing those values, knowing what I'm good at, I can now really look at something and say, no. And sometimes I just say, no, I don't think so, because that takes the guilt away a little bit. So one last thing that I wanted to kind of to bring up was that I am actually thrilled to introduce my incredible daughter, who is down there as Laura Toledo, and hopefully she can come on. There she is, because she is definitely an unstoppable daughter. She's making her author debut in the latest version of the 262 book, which is here. I also have that one because it's such an important book, and I was so honored to write the foreword to it. But her dreams were they were fierce, and she'll tell her story. But her path got rerouted, and it's been her resilience and her drive that has shaped her now and makes me so proud of her. Because take it away, Laura. I want you to share your story a little bit.
All right. Well, thank you, Kathy. And if you haven't picked up Kathy's book yet, please do. She'll be back on at the end to try and to tell you where it's available. But my name is Laura, and I have the honor of being her daughter. Like she said, I grew up with such a fierce woman that I dreamt big and I acted big. I started riding horses when I was about 8 or 9 years old. By the time I was 18, I was in the Junior Olympics. And my dream was to compete in the Athens, I think it was 2020 Olympics, maybe 2018. It was so far back that I almost don't remember now. But that the winter after I competed in the Junior Olympics, the next year on January 3rd, I suffered a stroke due to a heart defect, blood mutation, and birth control, which I'm sure a lot of us on this call have been on. Always in the commercials at the very end, at least places that have commercials for pharmaceuticals, at the very end, you'll hear side effects may include, and this 180-minute word per minute list of all the side effects. And it does include stroke in there. So I was that unlucky percentage that had that happen to them. I was in the hospital for about 2 months, which I think was probably harder on Kathy than it was on myself. I had some great drugs. I watched soap operas in the middle of doing my therapy there, but she and my father got me through. They looked out for me the whole time, and I wouldn't have made it through all that without her. So that's something that I should thank her for more often, and I'm indebted to her forever. So in the hospital, the effects of my stroke where it affected my whole, and so the side of my face was a little bit droopy. I couldn't move my arm. I couldn't walk. So I had to start rehabilitation in the hospital, learn to walk again. And by the end of, by that summer, I was back in my undergrad classes. I wanted to jump back on the horse figuratively since I couldn't do it literally at that point. and took a class that made me interested in the media studies major. And by that fall, I was looking at schools to transfer to, move out of state, and I eventually ended up in New York on Long Island studying this major called media studies that looks at how culture affects our media and media affects our culture and kind of the circular nature of that. After that, I went to California to do a little bit more rehab. I got some movement back in my shoulder and my arm and hand, and made the big decision to go to grad school at that point. I ended up back on the East Coast, not in New York, but in New Jersey. Took classes in diplomacy and strategic communications. And following that, I was able to move into New York. I had an internship and then started getting jobs there. And I live there to this day, living and working and seeing Broadway shows with friends. And that's kind of where I am now. And I just wanted to thank everyone on this call because I know I've met a lot of you through joining Kathy at a lot of the events. And it's such an honor and a privilege to be part of the 262 Women right now. I hope everyone's getting their updated version of the book because I'd love for you to read more about my story. And I can't wait to meet more of you and get to know everyone better. I will pass it back over to Kathy now to talk about 262 and her book, Unstoppable Women.
Yay, hearts and hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness, congratulations for being on the screen.
Yeah, and so just to close, I did want to let everybody know that for everybody on this podcast and on the summit, that I'll put in the chat my website. You can go there and download a it's a worksheet on strategic ways to use leadership or enhance your leadership. And for anybody who actually does download that from the website, I'm also going to send them a free first chapter of my book so that you can at least start looking into it if that's something that interests you. Also, as of Saturday, in celebration of the event with Natsukashi Inc., for the weekend, I am going to have my ebook for 99 cents for anybody who wants to go onto Amazon. And it's Unstoppable Women, Owning Our Voices and Leading Change. So that I want to make it accessible to as many women as possible, because I think every woman has what it takes to be a leader. It's just a matter of unearthing our strengths and developing them and then learning to use them strategically, because we can all do it and we all should. The world needs us now more than ever. So please step into your leadership. And it's my passion to help any woman who wants to. So thank you all for being here. And I look forward to hearing more from all of you or those that are presenting tomorrow also. And thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Yay. That was incredible. Congratulations. Go get the book. Support. When women present their books on here, I'm like, even when I have them, because I know that books are a gifted treasure, and giving them to somebody. The one thing I do want to say, as someone who's read the book, and I didn't place it beside my bed when you showed up just on purpose, right? These ladies are staying with me. I'm like, she's going to think I do that. But as someone who's a leader, and look at, you are leaders in your business, you're leaders in your field, you're leaders in your sector, you're leaders in your family. It's really nice to read something that validates or encourages or gives you a true definition of resilience, right? So it's not what sometimes we think it is. And it's just helpful. It's like 911 leader call. And I just do this, right? I mean, I don't know, do anyone do that? Like you just grab a book and just pull a page? I mean, I think that, for me, that's how I've been using the book and reading the book. So thank you so much for writing the book. And thank you so much for being on there, Laura. I know as a parent how very cool it is when you have a good human as a child who is braving up themselves. Like, it's one thing for us to brave, and then when you see your best friend or your child or your girlfriend brave up, you're just like, there's this little inner like, woohoo, that kind of goes on. And so I know I can tell by your mom's smile just how beautiful this experience is. And you guys are right beside each other in my screen. I so love it. Stephanie, I'm going to pass it over to you before we do a bit of a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, mothers and daughters, it's so special. Laura, it's good to see you again and to hear more of your story, actually. So thank you for sharing that and inspiring us all. And Carol, why does it? Oh, because it says
Because
Carol.
it says Carol.
That's my 8-hour brain, Kathy. That's me being on for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Kathy, I mean, it was so cool to see Kathy shining at the Oscars event. I was there in person, and her booth was like right as everyone was walking in, and she was getting so much love for sharing her book. And to Deb's point, any of us that are authors here, just go and spend the $20, buy each other's books on Amazon, and then post a review. Like Leslie, thank you for posting that. And Leslie has a book. Like we all had books. And Deb, your point is so valid that, okay, maybe we all have books, and maybe there's a few of you who are like, well, shoot, like, why would I write a book? Because there's all these books. It's just that we're the community of high achieving women who've come together. And Deb, that stat you shared, it's so remarkable. So Kathy, it's remarkable that you've written your book and you're in that 3%, and you are impacting the lives of women and helping them step up into the leaders that they need to be. Because as you started out your talk, the world needs more women. And the whole theme of this is that the world needs more women leaders. And we've heard that all day. The women in the world need us to step up and be a voice, because, you know, one of our earlier speakers talked about like Rhonda talked about, there are women behind us who are following us and admiring us and being like, how do I do that? And we don't even know it. Everyone on this call has a woman that's looking to us. And so Kathy, thanks for being a shining example, and Laura as well.
Congratulations.